Hey guys, it's Matt. Before reading chapter 21, a very important manhunt update, a Chester County, Pennsylvania, USA manhunt update. This is like a bright boy alert. For those of you around the world, this dominates the U.S. news, and the local news is all about the guy that escaped from prison. Oh boy, they could make a child song out of it very easy. They get him, they spot him over here, they spot him over there, they spot him over here, and he is everywhere. It's all over the place. So he pops up, he pops up in this county, he pops up in that. Matt, I'm detecting your sarcasm. Good, because I'm laying it on rather thick. Cake in a lake. Now, I'm putting push pins wherever they say CNN headline this morning. Daniello Cavalcante was spotted yesterday in Chester County's South Coventry Township. I kid you not, on Sunday, there were helicopters flying low over my house. No, it's not for me. And my neighbor's like, oh, that's them scouring this part of Chester County because he was spotted just 15 minutes down the road. I'm not joking. My little enclave of Chester County is like Conservative Hill. We're buried inside a sea of liberalism, of course. So what does Conservative Hill do? I actually know somebody that is training loved ones, weapons training. Yeah. Ooh, you're not skilled with what if he shows up at the weapons training? I'm not that, but that's the conservative knee-jerk reaction. This is the one time. No, this is when all these liberals around here in Chester County, oh my God, I would never have a firearm in the house. Oh, now, you know what I think about this whole news story, guys, but this is the one time it's like, honey, maybe we should not come down so hard on those conservatives that want firearms in the home. They're terrified. These sons of bitches around here are terrified that this motherfucker's going to come show up at the door. So just to wrap up your manhunt update, man, I've been putting in push pins, like I said, and it's starting to spell out a secret message. Remember little Ralphie with the little Orphan Annie decoder ring? This message, be sure to drink your... This is the push pins, all as he's showing up and being spotted in Chester County. It's saying, be sure to remember to drink your Ovaltine. A more serious note before I start reading. I continue along with how complicated the reality presentation is. It's a few sentences on the complexity of the King James Bible, like the 780,000 words. Guys, I consider you my brethren. Don't take your ball and go home. Be big enough. I mean, I can't just pull this back because I know you don't want to hear it. I mean, this is the book of my final interpretation of reality. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to piss anybody off, but I can't withhold anything either. Chapter 21. There are more than 10,000 tomes written on the esoteric and the occult, from authors ranging from Aleister Crowley to Madame Blavatsky. I came across yet another Manly P. Hall lecture on YouTube the other day. All in all, there are millions of pages written by brilliant people offering to unlock the various mysteries. What's all this complexity for? Is it the exhausted surrender of a simpleton like me to say this reality and our life in it boils down to about a half page? If there's any chance this is the case and I'm right, then what's the endless pondering for by these intellectuals? Why have the eggheads like Nietzsche, Immanuel Kant, Schopenhauer, Aristotle, and Bill Clinton written millions of pages collectively? I'll tell you what it's for. It's there to confuse your tired, frustrated ass in life. That's a staple in the reality playbook. Distraction through confusion, which is still a bit better than death by bunga bunga. I'm sorry, my Christian brethren. The King James Bible in this confusion conversation does not get a pass. It's extremely difficult to understand. It contradicts itself and speaks in riddles. The Old Testament doesn't seem like it has anything to do with the New Testament to me. Why would an entity be interested in burnt offerings? And why should Lot's wife get blamed for anything? To me, it's like somebody rubber banded two separate books together and said, bind these both together into one Bible. I don't get it. What does the wrath of God in the first section have to do with Jesus in the second? He said it himself, the God of the Old Testament. I am a jealous God. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous to me. We teach little kids not to be jealous. When Jesus talks about coming to the Father, how do you know he's talking about the God that's presented in the Old Testament? Is it so blasphemous to simply ask why the Christian Bible is over 780,000 words? Why not like 700 words? What's all that for? Why didn't Jesus simply tell Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John in about 2 pages what people need to do in life and how to serve God? What's the endless chapter and verse for? If it was a simple 50 pages, you may not need a middleman or a gigantic church infrastructure to interpret it for the great unwashed. Hey, in fairness, maybe it originally was very simple, and once again, this sick system of creeps hijacked it. That's certainly possible. Do you trust popes to keep the Bible in safekeeping for you? I don't. I wouldn't trust the Vatican to keep Tony Manero's shirt on layaway. The Christian Bible has been exclusively in the hands of creeps for about 1,500 years and was not made available to the people until somewhat recently. I don't know, like early 1700s or something like that. William Penn stole one and his Quakers came to Pennsylvania. I don't know, but it's somewhat recently. So who the heck is King James? Why would people bow down to him like he was a trustful soul in holding my Bible? Why should I trust him, King James, more than I would trust LeBron James holding my Bible for 1,500 years? Somehow, Christians trust kings, queens, emperors, dukes, duchesses, earls, and sheriff of Nottinghams. I don't know why they would, but they do. Yeah, these historical characters have such a long history of looking out for their own people, don't they? In every history that I know of, they racked people for fun. Was Edward the Longshanks from Braveheart one of those nice guys holding the Bible for you in layaway along with Tony Manero's shirt? Remember, that king implemented prima nocta, first night, and his perverted lords rode north in heat to sleep with ginger brides. You think the guy that implemented prima nocta didn't mess with your Bible? Look, I'm not saying to throw it out, or I'm not going to go too far here. There's tremendous truth in the Christian Bible, even to me. I mean, no doubt. But just I guess the people that bow down that every line is of God and God would never let a manipulation of one single line. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. This whole reality, they run rampant, these creeps, in terms of manipulating and changing everything. So you have to, as usual, inner knowing, discernment. I'm not going to continue this. The Christians don't want to hear it, of course. I'll move on. But you find the truth in it. But please realize, if these assholes were holding it for 1,500 years, there's also manipulation in it. There'd have to be. Let's move on. The dark reality called Notnilk knows that real people will one day go searching for spiritual answers. For a certain group, it cannot pretend forever that the other arm of the Vitruvian Man does not exist. In response, it lays down a massive hedge maze before all of us, kind of like the last scene in The Shining. And the Notnilk is Jack with an axe. One goes on YouTube and finds many hours of Manly P. Hall lectures and thousands of other things like it. You got highly intelligent people talking eloquently about eclectic and esoteric topics that seem important, but are not. What's all this bullshit for? If you believe life is some incredible, complicated mystery, that's exactly what it wants you to believe. So if you have the time, listen to thousands of hours of lectures and then the same amount of TED Talks. You'll surely find the truth. So get back to your laptop and put the time and effort into your research, you poor devils. Sure, I've talked myself for thousands of hours on YouTube, but it was a long process. When I started, I didn't know shit. I had to go on this long journey myself, with you helping me, to be able to finally see through all this fog and understand how simple the biggest truths in this reality actually are. The Notnilk tried to prevent me from saying that. Andy Dufresne had to crawl through a river of shit to come out clean on the other side. This life, especially for truth researchers, people starting to understand who they really are, this life is that river of shit. It was a long struggle to finally find my half page. At some point when we were all first grade, second, third, fourth grade truthers, then our book that we need to reduce to a half page or one page is like 1,000 pages. Look at my last book. Every single topic, every single conspiracy. I didn't realize when I started writing it that we're living in a conspiracy generation machine. Everything it's throwing at me, I dove into to do research, to in effect prove that the official story was wrong. By the time the book was about finished, the reality few can see, which I still stand behind, but there's no reason to dive into that level of the weeds. There's no point to it. You reduce your 1,000-page book down to one page when you simply say, well, wait a second. This is some sort of reality generation machine. No real world could do this. And if it comes from the screen itself or the outer layer, it's all bullshit. You can then eliminate 990,000 pages or whatever you've dove into over 10 years. And it says, oh, if it's all bullshit, I can throw out every single page and I'll never get in the weeds again. And it reduces down to about a half page. I assure you, the Not Nelk doesn't want people seeing through it with that degree of clarity or putting it in that simple sense. For about 10 years of making these kinds of videos, I was trying to understand the nature of the trick. The simple is well hidden amongst the complicated in this place. The master trick simply can't be seen if you're examining the details of each fraud one by one. If one gets too close to a topic like mud flood or Tartaria or fake mall events, then the entirety of the trick can't be seen because you're too close to it. It's like sleeping on King Kong's back. Only looking down on it from, say, 50,000 feet can the whole trick be seen. The Not Nelk knows this and draws you closer in by actually making mistakes on purpose inside its coordinated and planned events. Once I got a decent understanding, I stopped the endless conspiracy analysis and stressed how simple it all becomes. I didn't go on giving thousands of hours of lectures that just talk in circles. My message has evolved over the years, and it actually gets more simple as the months go on. So who are you listening to now? Who have you listened to? What is the message in the weeds, or is the message from 100,000 feet looking down? So from where I came from the Manly P. Hall lectures to the Jordan Maxwell lectures to listening to, David Icke in Wembley Stadium, and all, you can take truth away from all of it. But very few of these people ever got out of the weeds. I appreciate Jordan Maxwell telling me about all the different terms associating water with money and currency and relating money and currency to energy. And if you are bankrupt, you're underwater, and a bank of the river or a bank where you put your money and all that stuff. There's 30 terms that relate money to water, and that's great. But if you need to use that to get out of the bog, as brilliant as that is, as much of a revelation as that is the bog. And the Not Nelk is very satisfied if you're at that level. Guys, taking a break for a minute. This is unbelievable. It's 8:15 in the morning here. I just got a call, emergency call from Pam. Matt, about the manhunt. Matt, you need to know they believe he has a weapon now. Are you planning on going anywhere? Pam, guys, this is just when this level of panic, even if we weren't sure before, when it has created this level of paranoia in a population, it's loosh feeding. It's not 99% it's cake in a lake. It's 100% cake in a lake. Continuing to read, in saying this or reducing it to a half page, I want to be very clear. I'm no genius. Okay, it's given itself away. The others potentially didn't have all that we have to work with. Okay, I'm no genius. In this particular era, this time in history, reality has given itself away, and the Not Nelk needed, for some reason, to expose itself like a man in a trench coat with a heart on. So someone may ask, Matt, well, why is this book then so long? For a lot of reasons. Number one, nobody would take my half page seriously if I didn't support it. Two, I tell a lot of stories. I go off the book a lot, talk about roosters and things like that. Three, when the book comes out, I'm going to chop half of this out. This is long because I wrote it kind of notes to myself, knowing I would be talking the chapters out and presenting it like I am now. I'm going to chop out tons of it when it finally becomes a book. Trying to eventually boil everything down or reduce it down to a half page of understanding and put it into that level of simplicity is exactly why an army of trolls and orcs has been sent by Sauron against my Middle-earth. If you see the world in a similar way as I do, and it's this simple at the end, it puts the entire truth community's endless topics of bullshit essentially out of business. As you know by now, this book presents two main parts to the life journey. Part one is done. We see through its master ruse. The tricks don't work on us anymore. Part two is to reject the distraction and to get busy doing the things we're supposed to do in life that serve the spiritual whole of us. You can try to make the first part, understanding reality's trick, more complicated if you want to. That's playing its game. Go dive into the tens of thousands of books on the occult it will gladly offer you. The people who stumble upon the most interesting of these books think they're getting some sort of secret knowledge. What they're getting is a horse enema. I say throw it all out, including this book. When we're done, throw this out and keep the half page. Go live life the way you know you should be living it to serve the whole of you. If you're listening to this, you likely know as much as you will ever need to know already. Even if there's no more videos ever from me or anyone else, you know all you need to know. There's no reason to ever jump back into the screen's complicated mess. For many in our community, though, it has made the water nice and warm for them to splash around for decades and then drown in its weeds. There are 100,000 videos on platforms like BitChute and Brighteon and Odyssey and Rumble talking about the evil plottings of the cabal, secret societies, and clandestine meetings like Bilderberger. Welcome to Bilderberger, home of the Bilderberger. There are thousands of conflicting opinions about See the Me and the renting of the movie Action Jackson. It's all there to keep people distracted. Get busy wasting your time on these not-known breadcrumbs if you desire to play its game. The specifics of each conspiracy are the bog, no matter how much of it turns out to be true. Let me repeat that. Any specific of what's presented by the outer screen is the bog, even if it turns out from your estimation to be true. True as determined by what? True as a metric of this reality is actually bullshit. There's no truth here outside of the understanding of oneself. There's no finding out one day what exactly happened to the Pentagon, no matter how much research you put in. Yes, even if a specific nugget is true as you pan for gold in your truth research, if you just look at this piece of gold, this flake I got, even if that's true, it doesn't matter. It's still the bog. All that matters is the big picture. Even if you uncover all their evil deeds and have been correct every single time in every single one of your predictions, you're still playing its game. People don't understand this. Spending time in the weeds gets even more futile if you see it like I do, that the dark reality itself is a conspiracy generation machine with no off switch. Remember all those maps and posters we've looked at over the years? There's like thousands and thousands of topics and fine print, the conspiracy maps, things this relates to this, and you can't even read it. The font is so small, thousands of things, and this relates to aliens, and this relates to Tavistock, and then the Beatles come in here, and the mudflood, all the lines and points, directions. No real world could pull all that off. If the trolls can convince you it can be pulled off by men and women in smoking rooms and secret societies and groups like Tavistock, then you have just renewed your conspiracy license to come back into the weeds. It will dangle its same carrot over and over to those not willing to walk away. It beckons to you on your conspiracy ship of fools from its sirens on the rocks, and it calls out in its sweet song, if you can just put in a few more months of research on this topic, its sirens say you can figure it all out. Come crash your ship on my rocks, you conspiracy sons of bitches. That's what it's saying at a different frequency that you can't hear from the beautiful sirens. The answer is no. It can't be figured out. It can never be figured out. It's the game it wants you playing. It's the nature of the conspiracy aspect of the dark reality itself. The end of the movie War Games is the only worthwhile advice. And for those that don't remember, I don't know, I can't do the voice where the only winning move is not to play, or I don't know, it says don't play the damn, hey, next time Marty McFly, wasn't Marty McFly, who's that jackass in Lightman, whatever, it says the only winning move is not to play. Don't go searching for the thermonuclear war game, you dumb son of a beach. In January of 2020, the Kobe Bryant helicopter incident was presented to us. Who knows what really happened? Who cares? I remember saying to all of you at the time, though, and you may remember this, do you think a major news event will ever be presented at any time in the future that won't be full of conspiracy and things to chase? And y'all generally agreed, no big news story will ever come again without being riddled with conspiracy. Well, it's been almost 4 years since I said that, and every major news story that freaks people the fuck out is jam-packed, as usual, with endless things to chase and what you would call conspiracy. Folks, no real world could do that. It's been doing it for as long as we've been alive. At this point, you can see what it wants. You can see it wants us blaming men and women in the smoking rooms, blaming Tavistock and Trilateral Commission and Council on Foreign Relations and Beau Grove and Bilderberger. Welcome to the Bilderberger, home of the Bilderberger and Secret Society. If you're blaming men and women and can't see anything beyond that, it has won. I'm going to cut this section out of the book because we've done it a million times, but very briefly, let's just say you've put in 5 or 10 years on Mudflood or Tartary or any of the big ones. Let's just say you won. You, from your perspective, you won and you figured it out. Well, this is exactly what the Mudflood is. This is exactly how I believe they covered it. Let's just say you have all that, and it's, for the most part, let's just say you're right. I don't know any other way to talk about it. What does that do for you? What do you get? How does that help you fulfill your mission of why you're living life? No one's going to believe you anyway. If you could, Matt, we could use that to refuel the pickup truck army and get all the bad people in jail. And even if it was worthwhile trying to change society, which can't be changed, no one's going to believe you anyway. Like, what do you get out of figuring out whatever the conspiracy generation machine? See, I don't believe anything that's throwing at us is real. It's a false Lucifer chocolate factory. Even if you get it right, you've played its game. It does nothing for your life mission. What have you gotten? You somebody reach out and give you like a blue ribbon or something? I don't get it, really. I don't get any conspiracy hardcore research at this point. You can't see the master trick that's going on here? Is it really that hard to see when it's given itself away over and over? One can only, quote, win if they collect up all the research we've done over the years and then look down at it as a whole from 100,000 feet and then see how everything thrown at us is somehow connected to support its master trick or ruse. What does all of it have in common once you're too far back to where the distracting details now become blurry? We must move far enough back so the details of the specific topics no longer have any allure to us. I no longer care what, for example, the doomsday plane was doing flying around Washington, D.C. on the big day. I don't care to research that anymore. That and about a million other things. I don't care how first responders are magically all somehow kept quiet during the mall events or the school events. I don't know how it pulls it off. It wants me to try to figure that out. Remember the BitChute videos about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, regarding or associated with the renting of the movie Action Jackson? And these BitChute videos were saying it contains, or at least a batch contains, snake venom. I'm not joking. If you guys, look, as ridiculous as that is, and yeah, I can see through the trick, so I wasn't really running with signs around town saying there's snake venom in there, but it is ridiculous that sounds. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter who was making the presentation, if they were part of the Black Ops, or it doesn't. The evidence that they were able to construct, or an argument that they were able to put together, with the assistance, of course, from Lucifer's or Lucy's chocolate conspiracy generation machine, to many people, it was believable. And I'm just saying the argument wasn't as ridiculous as you may think if you were to watch these videos. No, I wasn't taken with it. But look, if reality can somehow present a series of videos where people will walk away thinking there's damn snake venom, I mean, this thing can accomplish anything. All of it has to be walked away from. I mean, that was a particular funny one, but it wasn't as ridiculous as it seems if you didn't watch these videos. I don't know how this came out. I'm not going to re-record. So only see what the Not Milk is up to looking down on it from 100,000 feet. The bog, collectively, is the master trick. Each drop of mud in the bog are the specific research topics, which perpetuates the endless conspiracy we spend years looking at. No real world could lay so many breadcrumbs. No real world can be a conspiracy generation machine with no off switch. Go show the screen or demonstrate to the outer ring of reality that you're interested in a particular conspiracy topic and see what starts to happen. See what it starts to serve up to you. Researchers like Jeff see this as well. Once it understands what you want to find and investigate, it will somehow start to serve up to you what you want to find. Just like turning on the chocolate, Lucy's chocolate factory. Here it comes. It knows, it sees you when you're sleeping. It knows when you're awake. If you give it a hint of what you want to find, oh boy, it'll serve it up. The topics and their associated breadcrumbs are never exhausted in this reality. This is, in a way, the truth drop of the Sorcerer's Apprentice and the endless buckets of water. Once you see the reason for all the conspiracy and uncover the Not Milk's single goal, you can stop chasing it forever. People are not doing it to you. The dark reality is doing it to you, and it uses people, as it uses many things, as its tools, as it uses its larger systems. Very few of us see the whole of this thing we call not milk. I remind you that part 2 of the book, The Work, is all that's important once you leave the fascination with the trick behind. I have a neighbor across the street that has an above-ground pool. When the wind is right, after he has added his chemicals, the air outside my house for hours smells like one of those evergreen air fresheners people used to hang on the rearview mirrors in the 1970s. It enrages me when the smell comes into my windows, but I understand this is simply another tiny thing I need to overcome. Just like the rooster issue, I'm not bothered by the smell itself, but by the actions of man that in some way I believe are intruding on my personal space or my personal reality bubble. This is what upsets us about anything or people around us that irritates us. If the similar smell came from flowers outside or from a bush outside my window, I'd probably love it. I'd go out to the damn florist and say, "Do you have those great carnations that smell like pool chemicals?" I'd love it. Yes, even these tiny little things that seem like nothing are part of the work, part of part 2. Let's say I couldn't overcome most of the small stuff that had bothered me before in life. Well, here following is a narrative and a role-play conversation between me and my higher self at death that doesn't go very well for me. Lying in my bed in Benjamin Button's hospice in New Orleans, the cat from the movie Dr. Sleep finally jumps down from the foot of my bed. All breath has left me. I am now dead. Leaving my body behind, my soul floats up into an etheric mist. A massive glow surrounds me and then collects before me. It's my higher self! Taking a human shape for my benefit, the light looks down on me and begins to speak. It's a gentle yet powerful voice, a mix between the voice of Marcellus Wallace in Pulp Fiction and the voice actor that did the "I am that I am" in the 10 Commandments as the burning bush. It says to me, "You, living out the life that just ended, proclaimed you were ready to graduate out of that material realm. You told this to many people on your dumbass YouTube channel. You were so proud of yourself that you could tell when a mall event on the news was cake in a lake." It didn't use those exact terms. However, I see here that you couldn't even rise above the smell of your neighbor's pool chemicals. That's not good enough, boy. You didn't do the work. Analyzing catastrophe thespians after mall events was not the work and the life required for you to live. You were obsessed with the trick itself and the outer ring that plays the dark reality's reindeer games. You talked the talk to your subscriber base, but you didn't walk the walk. Your incarnation was a conspiracy-chasing loser. Didn't you see Top Gun quoting your movie lines all the time? No points for second place, you retarded maverick. You squandered the part of us that I gave you. You did very little that benefited the whole of us. I didn't send you to Earth for Tartaria research, boy. Now get back down there to Earth to do another lifetime for the entirety of us. But, Mr. Higher Self, sir, I'm one of the few down here that saw through the trick. I saw through part 1, the trick. I beat the trick. I knew what it was presenting was fake. The giant glow which is higher self now morphs into the face of the entity in Star Trek that claimed it was the god of Shakari. It takes on a puzzled look beneath its beard and says in a booming voice, "No, from what you were supposed to do, you a loser and a failure. I see here you spent time on trivial bullshit that the Not Milk entity created, and you lived your life in its weeds. Sure, you recognized Hillary Clinton was one of the Dukes of Hell, but you let the small stuff around your reality bubble bother the shit out of you. You get no points from me for the time you put into those mall events. You need to go back down there to Earth to learn more lessons for the whole of us so we can benefit this time around. I observed that pool chemicals and a rooster bothered you. You didn't overcome the small stuff, little man." "But, Mr. Higher Self, which is me, I studied the conspiracy and saw through what Melvin P. was trying to do to us with his fake concern for our health." "So what? What do you want for that, a Microsoft Windows upgrade? It was all spyware anyway," the booming voice says. "That's not winning the earthly game, my little white me. You dare to complain about the smell of pool chemicals? Let me tell you, Mr. Matt, little me, as a simultaneous incarnation, I have an incarnation right now in something I can't talk about here, in a camp in 1943 during World War II. And he's doing better than you did, and he's about to step into something where he'll wish in just 1 minute it was just the smell of pool chemicals. Wait, Mr. Higher Self, Matt, which is Matt, let's talk about this. Can we? You got time, man? Well, I'm dead now. We got time. Let me talk about this for a minute. Come on, man. No, we cannot. Now get back down there, pick another body, and fuck off. Well, where you gonna put me? The son of a crack baby, Kensington, Philadelphia. No, man, come on, anything but that. I'll be Elon Musk's girlfriend. Anything but Kensington, man. Enough talk. Report back here in 80 years with better news than telling me the big mall events were cake in a lake. Like I didn't know that from sitting up here. I do have one question, though. Oh, okay, what's that? What the hell is a Pootie Tang Award? Now, guys, let's hope our higher selves are more loving than what happened to me in that exchange. No matter what part of that could be true, the points are still the same. Number one, if I can't do the small stuff, if I don't concentrate on part two of the work, if I can't overcome the smell of pool chemicals without it bothering me, having my neighbors piss me off, and I haven't even gotten close to the finishing line of navigating part two. See, this is why the Not Nil keeps us in part one, the trick, because part two is all that's important. All the conspiracy we look at, or that you could say we see through, is just another part of the Not Nil's crafted distraction. It really is no different than somebody that spends their entire life analyzing a Hollywood reporting or the red carpet. It really is no different. We think that our pursuits and our research is more just, more righteous than the next guy's, but it's really not. It's just a different form of a chocolate that comes down the assembly line. Our chocolate has a caramel or whatever, caramel in the middle. It's just different from the distraction crafted for your uncles and aunts and cousins and brothers and sisters and people on the street. It really is breaking down. If you keep playing its game, it's no more righteous and just. These pursuits, well, no, Matt, we're better than everyone else because I could see that India didn't really, a few weeks ago. I can see that. You know what? Like in Top Gun, no points for second place. Just because you can see that, it doesn't matter. That is simply a crafted part of the illusion that's directed at our truth research community. However, we can do more than the people around us that'll just be taken with the worries and stresses and fears and Pam calling me up because this manhunt dude could have a weapon. And we can do more. We can be bigger than them. By seeing through the trick and chasing more conspiracy? No. By putting all of the bullshit distractions aside and actually doing the work. It's not just about overcoming pool chemicals. There are millions of things that are related to part two, the work, that you'll have to determine what that is for you. The examples I'm starting out with here, like a rooster, and of course it's ridiculously rudimentary. Sometimes it's not easy to overcome if your neighbor's doing something that pisses you off to no end. To get that, to completely move past it where it does not bother you, that is not insignificant. Even though, the presentation of it at the surface seems very insignificant. But we start here just to give you a sense that there is no magical recipe. You don't have to go into the esoteric and the occult tomes. I need to go back and read Blavatsky and go listen to more Manly P. Hall lectures. And maybe I should read Crowley's books. And all that, it's simple. All of it is simple. It might not be as simple as having pool chemicals piss you off as it comes in an open window. I don't even open my windows much, and the one day a week I open my windows, I got to smell this. The neighbor says back, what am I supposed to do? Drain the damn pool. I just want to stress that the basic things and the simple things should not be overlooked and are essential parts. Although part two does get more complicated, of course. It doesn't get as complicated as shadow work. And, Matt, don't we have to pull the kundalini up through the chakras and all? We don't have to do any of that bullshit. No. Don't we have to know God in this? No, this isn't the place to know God. This is a place to be pretty damn confused. But no, I'm just stressing that it starts simple, and actually it stays simple, but there's millions of things. And everyone's part two is going to be different. The idea is to really get in touch with your inner knowing. Like, what am I really supposed to do here for myself? This is a very unique place. This is absolutely a place that is not, it has things here that, is not presented to us at all or in the same way from the place where we came from, you might say. So even the little reminders, I still keep it up. I forget all the time, but Monday is my day to concentrate on vision, to really observe, to have vision be the sense that takes the forefront. Tuesday, today, is a smell day. I will stop whenever I remember, and I forget all the time, to smell this or that, to have that sense dominate. And it all turns blurry if everything mashes together. That's like why I like putting 1 sense forward per day. I put a damn sign up on my freezer, and it's still, I see it, I still forget to do it half the time. But again, these experiences, even the smells or the music, when music moves you, I get the feeling, well, maybe music does exist in the spiritual place where we came from, but that those emotions, how it moves you, the feeling, that I'm not sure we have outside of here. And that's, something to really don't take these little things for granted. Every little experience here is amazing in its own way. Let me close by telling you about these strange comments, only maybe 3 over the past few many months, but it's the weirdest comment I've ever gotten related to nihilism, and it just happened like a week ago. Now, the person, maybe they're new to the channel, but I would say, did you even listen to the video or the presentation? What I'm doing here is the opposite of nihilism. It's the exact opposite, pinned to the other side of the spectrum of nihilism. What did the comment said something like, I was weird. It was like, what reality are you in? Oh, this is the heart of the pinnacle of nihilism. What the hell are you talking about? Finding beauty in everything, seeing this experience is incredibly unique for the whole of us, seeing a timeless being that's having a really hardcore pipe-hitting unique experience, and little tiny thing. Just stared at a spider in a spider web for 10 minutes the other day, thinking it was about the greatest thing of all time. When I was in college or high school, I just really slammed right through it and smashed the spider down to get to my beer party. It's the opposite of nihilism. What planet are some of these commenters on? Anyway, thanks for listening.